In New England, the Patriots could not get too big ahead. They were obviously dominant. So the biggest risk to the Patriots losing, or to their dominance, was to get ahead of themselves, to get sloppy, to overlook the opponent. That was always the challenge. They won so much there. The challenge is not to pump us up. We win the division by Thanksgiving every single year. We're one of the 2 top seeds of the AFC every single year. We barely play games in December that matter unless it's for home field advantage. The challenge in New England was always staying grounded because they were so good. In Tampa this year, Brady has to play the opposite card. We belong. Because he knows they're not as good as the Packers. Now, some of this is probably also a strategic way to build up confidence within a locker room that has not won before. Hey, we belong here. We're good. And maybe if the Buccaneers win a Super Bowl this year, next year you would not hear Brady say something like this. But I think this is a very significant line of demarcation. Tom Brady for 20 years said, nobody believes in us. We got a chip on our shoulder. His first year in Tampa, we're one of the 2 best teams of the NFC. This is the way it ought to be. He knows he's not as good as the Packers. He knows the Packers aren't. He knows the Packers are better. He knows he's not as good as Aaron Rodgers. He knows that the Buccaneers are not at that level. They might have beaten the Packers earlier this season, but that's a one-off game. These 2 teams are different today, and the Packers are much better today than they were when they played in that game earlier in the season. And while Aaron Rodgers can control an entire chessboard and dominate a game, Brady cannot do that anymore. Brady can have good games. He cannot be Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes at this point in time. It's not available to him in his body right now, in his arm. He can be good. He's obviously good enough to get here. But he's not Mahomes or Rodgers anymore. So this is interesting. It's interesting because I think it is showing the cards of Tom Brady. They know they're not at that level of the Packers. They have to talk themselves into it being, we're equals here. This is the way that it ought to be, because confidence is going to be key for the Bucs.